Hi, I'm starting to do some new videos. I have just endured and passed through a long period of illness. I had 3 months of being overwhelmed with head injury. I've had a lot of head injuries all my life, but that's not the topic of this video. Yet it took me down because I fell in December of 2022. December 27th, I fell outside on the snow and got a concussion. I fell in January of 2023, January 31st, and got a concussion. I hit my head on the left side when I fell last year in December, and I hit my head on the right side when I fell in January. Then to top it all off, I fell again in February because I was using a cane instead of my walker. I seem to think about myself that I can bounce right back, and I start to walk and do things and try to force my body to cooperate. And I had this cane. I was walking through a church dining room and tripped on the bottom of the cane. So there was no use. I had to rest, and a lot of the resting time was me laying there thinking about what activity I could do next. And I still did pull it off. I had a few activities that I pulled off. I sang at one church, I think it was in January, and I spoke at the same church. I gave a teaching to a women's group just a couple weeks ago. So I've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to get out the messages that have been inside of me for so many years. I heard a famous preacher once say that he was a janitor in his church for 30 years, and the whole time he was doing his janitor work, he was having stories and teachings and parables and metaphors and things were rolling through his head. So because I don't have a venue, and because a lot of times churches don't accept people that are new, and I've had a lot of emotional damage, so what I do is I make a geographical cure. I move, I start fresh all the time. I go in with my friendly personality, and then ultimately, if I'm there long enough, they can see me fail, they can see me fall apart, they can see me get ill. And it's very hard to put up a front of feeling good all the time. And I know that in the United States, there's in our culture, there's a fake mask that we all wear that says, I'm all right, I'm good, I'm all right. But the problem with that is then everybody does believe you're all right, and when you do have a time of illness, you're expected to just take care of it on your own. A lot of friends do not look after you, they don't call you, they don't try to see if you need help. So the burden falls totally personally on you because you have become so fluent of being a free bird, a happy person, smiling and trying to help other people. And so it's not real. Now, I know a lot of people think that a person like that is lying, but I'm not lying when that happens. It's a habit of mine that I've developed over the years because of childhood trauma, where I was expected to get over something that hurt me very badly. And so the hurts went down deep and low and deep and in the crevices and were hidden in secret places. And a lot of people grow up and get saved, and in the first few years, it's the phase they call the honeymoon phase. You and Jesus are on the top of the world. You have friendship in churches that everybody's so excited because they know Jesus. And then time passes, and so most people in the United States stay in one church for 30 or 40 years, and they never go anywhere to another church. So they've developed friendships and pathways of people that understand when they are sad, they can call a friend, and you know who is the person you can call. But actually, when you're in the church on the Sunday morning, it's just like, hi, how are you? Oh yeah, I'm okay. And then it begins this thing where it just is very difficult for a person like me. So I stay home. I don't go around those people till I'm feeling better. It kind of makes me sad. I don't know how to cope with it any other way. And so here I am. Today I'm going to go back to the little local church that I've made some friends there. But I truly don't let people see the part of me that is really falling apart. There's one girl in the church that in the beginning of my time, when I went to church there, I felt her emotional sadness. I felt it in a very deep way because it was like mine. So I spent a lot of time trying to help her. And her wounds were very deep. And I tried to let her know how she could overcome. But her resistance was keeping the healing back, and her resistance was keeping me at bay. And probably because she wanted to just say, I'm all right. She didn't want me to see the falling apart part. But I thought that it was okay that I saw it. We became close. Then there was a time when I had another period of illness. I guess it was a year ago. And I felt that in our friendship that it had turned around, that I was the needy one. And she wasn't able to come into that space to help me. So instead of me being able to cope with that shift and that balance of getting off balance, I inwardly felt rejected. That's my wound of my whole life. I felt rejection. And in that rejection, I felt angry. And I knew that it was unbalanced. I knew that I couldn't tell her or explain myself in that area. And it took on a kind of thing where I couldn't express to her what was wrong. So I just stopped. I stopped communicating with her. And then she wanted to know what she had done wrong. And I couldn't answer. So I just stopped. And that, I'm sure that left her with her own burden of rejection, which I didn't mean to do that. But, we're all human of our human frailties, and when we get saved, we're not perfect. We don't even get perfect to the end. It's a journey of being made, I wish I could say the scripture, but it's a journey of learning how and going through lessons and trials and getting better along the way and growing more mature along the way. I can't find the word right now what that says in the Bible. But so recently, in my period of illness this time, the thing that I wanted her to do back then, a year ago, that I couldn't tell her I wanted her to do, she's actually the only person in the church that has been checking up on me more often. There is one other lady that has poked around and sent a few texts, and that lady did come over one day and help me with my messy house. So I guess there are two people, but the one that I was most upset about was the girl that I had poured into. So you see, there's a balance in life when you do something for somebody. It's really, you're doing it for Jesus, and Jesus is in you at that moment, and what they're receiving is Jesus, and the powerful energy that you have at that time is Jesus energy. But they don't realize that, and in a way, I didn't realize it. I mean, I should have known better, but I expected something that wasn't there. So you can't expect the person that you give to be the one that gives back. It's a rule of life. And I learned it actually when I was a single mom. I knew that the people that I gave into and gifted, and not monetarily, but giving of my time or things like that, that person was never going to give it back. But God would use somebody else to give it back. So right now I have an aide because I'm at that age and I qualify through government help to have a helper. She's not a medical helper. She comes and cleans up the daily messes that I leave laying around and does the dishes and puts away the stuff. You know, when you're sick, you don't want to do that. So I haven't been doing that. And she is the person that does that. But because of the imbalance of things, humanly, we expect in friendship for one person that we give to give it back. But it's not true. When you are a giver of Jesus, when you allow Jesus to go through you as an empty vessel, and the other person is receiving Jesus, then when you get sick and that other person doesn't help you, you must allow yourself a portion of time to understand that you're not supposed to resent that person that didn't help you. So I hope this comes across correctly on the video, and I'm going to stop now with that. And I just want to say thank you to that younger girl that is responding to my need, and if she watches this, she knows who she is. Thank you. Goodbye.